it for your audience perfectly, Sean. This was not a loophole. The Biden administration, Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, devised a scheme to fly illegal aliens into the country and then to escort them en masse across the border by the millions, and to give them something known as parole, which gives them a work permit, which gives them a social security number, which gives them access to the voting booth. This was the plan all along, to get them here illegally so they can get free government benefits, get hooked to welfare, and be able to participate in American elections. This was an attack on democracy by the Democrat Party. It's the same attack that we see, Sean, when you have California, a sanctuary state, that is refusing to turn over even illegal alien criminals and gang members to ICE. So these are illegal aliens in California who have been arrested by California police, by California law enforcement, for serious crimes, for crimes against children, for felonies, for crimes that threaten public safety, and they are refusing to hand these criminal illegal aliens over to ICE. Instead, they're freeing them back into the cities to offend and offend again. By any definition, what California is doing is criminal. It is a violation of our laws. It is one of the most heinous things that I have seen in my entire...
Yes, it is heinous, and they are breaking the law. So I want to know, where are the lawsuits, the indictments? Where is the legal action taking against these sanctuary cities, states, these politicians who are literally broke the law and continue to break the law? Because you got Mandandi up in New York. He talking big shit about Trump. Well, baby, January 2nd. And you know what? You know what Trump is going to do? Because he's petty. And he should be petty. So the mayor of New York, they get inaugurated on New Year's in Times Square. Right hand on the Bible as the ball is dropping. And you know what Trump going to do? I bet you he going to have National Guards and the military and the DEA, sheriffs, bounty hunters with boots on the ground in Times Square on New Year's Eve, honey. Yes, he is. So he going to bust up that party. He going to bust up your swearing in. You want to talk big shit now? I think reality is probably setting in Mandandi's head today. But wait until you stand up in front of that crystal ball in Times Square with your right hand on that Bible and you see tanks coming down Times Square to get these damn illegals up out of there. Yeah. See, have your victory, because it's not going to last long. New York City is about to turn all the way up. Make no mistake about that.
And I just want to speak for those who are really being affected. We say the numbers, Sarah, 22 million, but I want to speak on behalf of Clifford Johnson in LA, who is disabled. He is paralyzed. And you know what he does for a living? Drive Uber with sticks. So this is somebody who does everything that they possibly can with no legs to still work, to still contribute to society, who's getting screwed on the Medicaid side, and also now being screwed on the food stamp side. So no matter what he does, this particular administration that is in charge now is screwing him either way. There is this stereotype that those who are on SNAP and those who are on these benefits are people who are lazy, people who are not contributing. So that $100 and $150 that he gets every month may not make a difference to those who are sitting at the tables in Congress, but it absolutely makes a difference to him. So what would you say to him, to the Republicans who are holding Medicaid hostage and for food stamps? Should he now say, well, now I can't get my diabetes, all of the complications with being paralyzed, or starve? What would you say to him? What should his choice be?
Well, Republicans are not holding Medicaid hostage, number one. Number two, we protected Medicaid for those who are disabled to make sure that they are not losing benefits to those that are here illegally, taking benefits away from the very people who rely on this program, number one. Number two, again, we passed, Republicans in the House, passed a clean CR to fund SNAP, to fund WIC over a month ago. Democrats in the Senate have voted 14 times to keep the government shut down. to not fund WIC, to not fund SNAP. So this is not a function of Republicans playing politics. I don't care who the president is or what party is in power. I have voted every single time to keep the government funded and open. During Joe Biden's presidency, I voted 8 times to keep the government funded. Kevin McCarthy lost his job as Speaker of the House in large measure because he put a clean CR on the floor. It's time for Chuck Schumer to do the right thing, stop playing politics, stop kowtowing to Bernie Sanders and AOC and Zohran Mamdani, and vote to pass a clean CR as he did every time until this year. Every time in his career for 50 years.
Can I just say? Let me just say this. I'm sorry. The people that I represent can't afford a plane ticket. So waiting in line for a delayed plane is not going to get them pissed. What's getting the people that I know who are upset are the people that are literally not being able to eat. To say that you're not holding Medicaid hostage when you know that Democrats are trying to negotiate to get health care back on the table.
That's the Affordable Care Act subsidy,
right?
Which is a totally different.
Right, but you know Democrats don't have leverage, so let's stop playing games. This is their only leverage that they have.
They've said this is the only leverage they have, which is why they shut the government.
That's exactly it.
Where's the deal maker?
So where's the deal maker?
Come in and make a deal.
So we've never allowed policy, and this is Chuck Schumer saying this. This is Hakeem Jeffries saying this. This is Nancy Pelosi saying this. We've never allowed policy to be extracted at the barrel of a gun by using a shutdown to hold the American people hostage. There's a very simple way to address all these issues. And by the way, I'm a lead co-sponsor on a bill to extend the ACA subsidy by a year. I went and asked Hakeem Jeffries 3 weeks ago, sign on to the bill. If this is what you're saying is the issue, let's get it done, sign on to the bill and join me. He said no, because it really was never about that. So if we want to address health care in America, let's do it. But you don't do it in a shutdown.
There's some say, because you keep saying over and over, there's never, they've always signed on. Let me be clear. I'm an independent. I'm not a Democrat. I told Democrats they should have did the same thing that you're doing to them. They should have shut it all down, broke it all down. So I appreciate the or else, that Republicans are doing if that is the agenda that you're pushing. So I just want to be clear about that. When you say they've always signed on, they should have stopped signing on a long time ago when Sarah was following us with the George Floyd matter. They should have shut it down a long time ago when we were looking to expand the Supreme Court. So I am all for, pushing the agenda and using what you can as leverage. And Republicans do that best. So now be confused why Democrats are doing that is confusing to me.
In my conference last Congress that wanted to shut the government down over Joe Biden's open border policy. I and others said no, not because I disagreed with them on the substance of the issue, but because shutting down the government is not going to solve the problem. And in fact, what it's doing, the very people that you're talking about that are not going to get food assistance, that's what it does. It creates this tit-for-tat game where each side uses the American people as a hostage in a ridiculous negotiation. We can easily pass the clean CR, open the government up, pass an ACA subsidy extension. I don't want to see people's health care premiums go up. But the fact is that this subsidy, by the way, the Democrats passed to expire at the end of this year. If they could have done a permanent extension while Joe Biden was president, they would have done that. But
your argument is, let's just pass it and let's negotiate later. And that reminds me of sometime when men say, don't worry about it, I'll just call you in the morning. So I've heard it all before. I've cheated on you 655 times. But this one time, you know what I'm talking about. But this one time, it's going to be all better. So in the words of Sunshine Anderson as an R&B singer, I've heard it all before. So to say, let's just pass it and don't worry about it, that's not how it works.
Well, then you will see this happen every single time. If people want to use a government shutdown, you will see this happen in perpetuity every year, September 30th. One group is going to hold it, and it's not good.
That's in about.
So, Taslim, let me just say this about Taslim. She knows what she's talking about when it comes to politics. She's put boots to the ground. She has campaigned for public officials, and they have got elected in their local and state elections. So she's not just some random person getting up there talking. However, she always told, I'm an independent. Guys, watch out for people that always say they're independent, but they lean left. She leans left a lot, right? Sometimes she do criticize the left, but maybe at one point she was a Democrat and then she became an independent. That's fair. But I disagree with her here because, no, I understand what she's talking about. But the bottom line is, and I do disagree with her, sign the bill because it's already been 35 days. Sometimes you have to let the other side get a win. The Republicans, there are more Republicans in Congress, yes. but you have a whole year next year to battle different policies out on the congressional floor. This is serious. This is over 35 days. People are not getting their benefit snaps. A lot of people are furloughed. Military is not getting paid. Air traffic control is non-existent. Sign the bill, Democrats. You are the ones making it worse. Illegals do not deserve nothing because they are illegal. Only thing they deserve is a one-way ticket up out of here. So I'm not siding with Teslin. She knows she's not stupid. She knows politics. She's put boots to the ground. But I'm sorry, y'all need to sign that bill, and you need to argue and stand your ground on other issues that's going to come up next year. Period. But this is what I do want to share with you guys, because they kept talking about illegals and food stamps. And she didn't say they're not getting it, but the fact that she didn't say that they were not. But a lot of people, especially you Democrats and you white liberal lovers or just liberal lovers, you're claiming that, oh, they're not getting benefits. They're not getting food stamps. Excuse me. Illegals are. This is Newsweek article. It says an analyst by the Economic Policy Innovation Center has found that in fiscal year of 2023, approximately 1.764 million non-citizens received SNAP benefits, costing taxpayers around $5.7 billion. The research draws on data gathered by USDA. So we have paid $5.7 billion in 2023 for non-citizens to eat when they should not be here. Number one. Number two, that $5.7 billion could have been allocated to the Affordable Care Act subsidiaries so that our premiums, our monthly premiums, can be low. Quote, I think many Americans are shocked to learn that the federal government is spending so much of their hard-earned tax dollars on welfare for non-citizens. That's Matthew Dickerson, Director of Budget Policy at Economic Policy Innovation Center. Contrary to what the EPIC report says, no SNAP participants are unauthorized immigrants without status. That's bullshit. And then they go on to say most of those granted some form of temporary protection from deportation, including DACA. DACA means you are undocumented. Temporary protected status, that's bullshit because it's temporary, not permanent. And asylum applicants are ineligible for SNAP and therefore not among the 1.7 million non-citizen participants. That's BS. Because DACA is getting food stamps. And especially depending on what state you're in. Asylum seekers, asylum applicants. The Democrats, they kept saying that the people crossing the border are all asylum seekers, and they're not. Don't you know that United States, we only, by law, we can only admit 200,000 asylum seekers annually. And I think it's less than that. I think it's 150 annually, not 20 plus million. Bottom line is illegals are getting food stamps. They're getting free health care. They're getting free housing. They're getting all these resources. We're paying for it. Illegals gain so much political power because we are in a government shutdown because of illegals. The only people that want illegals here are the illegals themselves and the Democrats. And it's hurting our country. Security, our money, our taxes, everything. That is a problem. So, I support ICE. I support the National Guards. I support the military. I support DEA. I support the bounty hunters. I support the sheriffs. What, you want to deputize sheriffs and stuff like that, Trump? I support all law enforcement people whose job is to remove non-citizens. Should have had your paperwork in order. But if you just jump that border, cross the border, swam here, flew here within the last 4 years, no, sir, no, ma'am. You and your children have to go. Have to go. And you know what? I need to do a throwback show. We need to revisit last winter, 2 winters ago, when they were busing the illegals to Chicago and New York City in the middle of winter, right? Because Kamala Harris, who was the border czar, allowed us to have open borders. So these people coming in winter, they were sleeping in tents outside of police stations in Chicago. Some children froze to death. Walmart opened up their stores after hours so that they could give them coats. And I have no problem with that. But you sent these people, these sheep, basically into the mouth of the wolf so that you can stay in power. In turn, for you to not have power. So, yeah, it's a mess. It is this is a clusterfuck created by the Democrats. A government shutdown. I'm not flying anywhere until 30 or 60 days when the government reopens. Because the people that are in charge, that are operating traffic control, they're barely getting any sleep. Airports airlines are grounding planes because they can't fly because people are on furlough in the airport. I work for the airport. It's too dangerous. So listen, it's a hot mess. It's a big clusterfuck. And you Democrats, you know, I've never seen it where illegals have a whole bunch of political power in this country. God help us.
Dana with the data. Dana with the data.